Hello, everyone. As a part of PHUSE podcast series, the undeniable truth about 6 skills possessed by statistical programming heads that no one is telling you. Today, we're going to talk about engagement, described as creating a climate where people are motivated to do their best to help the organization achieve its objective, for which we have Olivier and Lee with us.
My name is Olivier Lecomte. I'm the Global Head of Clinical and Statistical Programming at J&J. I've been in the industry for more than 21 years now. I've graduated with a Master in Mathematics applied to Computer Engineering in Paris. And I've been going across Europe and across a few big pharma companies since. I've been a head of programming for nearly 8 years now. And I've been looking at various parts of the portfolio of a big pharma company, so almost all TAs over time, and currently at J&J I've got all TAs.
My name is Li Zhang, and I am currently working at Roche as the Global Head of Statistic Insight Generation. I trained in medicine and came to United States, received a master's degree in statistics, and has been working in the pharma industry for about 25 years. And started with smaller pharma and now has been actually working with Genentech for quite a long time. I have been supporting clinical projects and specifically in the oncology area for the last few years.
So what is engagement in your own words?
Engagement is a community effort, and people come together to drive towards a common sense of objective. And people can play actually different roles. Some really good at driving, so they're people who lead, and then some actually plays as coach, and some may just follow and contribute. One of the significant element of engagement is about contributing. And for a high engagement community, you see everyone contributes to the new ideas, and also, working, collaborating with each other on those objectives.
And Olivier, you have something to add?
It's the combination of keeping yourself motivated and keeping your team motivated and engaged. How do you give the best of yourself, and how do you ensure your team give the best version of the team on a daily basis, and especially to achieve the impossible? I think the last 12 months and the pandemic have been asking us these questions. How can we deliver a treatment? How can we deliver a vaccine to a disease that was unknown 12 months ago? So I think that's really what it is how do I move things forward, and how do I work with my team, and we all focused on achieving the impossible.
Talking about that, how do you harness engagement in difficult times?
Achieving the impossible requires goals, requires objectives. You need to have a plan. We've seen it with the pandemic. It was not just about throwing resources and do the best we can. It was organized, obviously the clinical development plan, the protocols, but also the studies and the teams. How do you shorten some of our timelines? What process can we change? In such a situation, the engagement is being facilitated, that there's a clear objective, which is, save the world, save our close one, our elderly ones from being infected. I think for me, that's how you do. You have a realistic objective, you have a realistic plan, but at the same time, you want to achieve the impossible.
And Lee, you have anything to add?
I think that engagement is best to do when we can do it in person, but with the technology, we have seen that a large engagement through online community. And this is so thankful for these technology. At current time, the pandemic, Zoom and Google Meet to allow us to engage, when we are all working from home.
So how are you trying to keep your team continuously engaged? I know that's a big challenge.
It's having a vision, having somewhere where you want to go. But then is to have a good plan, is to understand what are the steps you need to do to achieve what you want to achieve. Because you will engage people by saying, okay, we need to go through all these steps. They might not be all defined yet, And that also a way to create the engagement is like, we have a high level plan. We want you to create, the details in between. And then having this plan, then you're able to measure your progress and to say like, okay, do I need to inject more excitement? Do I need to add some more resources? Do I need to review the strategy and making it more realistic? So I think having a plan is key to keep the team engaged.
And Lee, how do you practice?
In order to engage, people need to have this kind of passion and they will gain something. And so this is a very important, what's in there for them. We need to help them to connect the content and their passions.
And I think also around that passion aspect is the healthy debate. I do believe in the intellectual debate. I do believe that everybody should feel able to challenge the questions or the answers that are being discussed, and that it's actually a way to measure the engagement. Is to have those disagreements, is to have those discussions. If everybody agrees from day one, you're not having engagement, in my opinion. You're having compliance, and these are two very different things. Obviously, it needs to be respectful. It's about debating the ideas. It's about debating the solutions, not about, do I agree with A or B. Having had, the opportunity of working across multicultural teams, I know that healthy debate or intellectual debate may have different ways of operating, but it's very important, in my opinion.
You have anything to add, Lee?
In order to get everybody engaged, I think one of the elements is very important is the transparency and on-time communication. The other thing is for us as a leader in the organization, leading by example, it's very, very important. So there's a saying, say, leader brings the weather. And as leader, we need to exhibit the behavior and show up positive and show up and bring people together.
And I think, with this leading by example, one of my favorite movie quote is, do or do not, there is no try, which, for me, I translate by, make a decision or don't make the decision, but don't, play with it or circle around it. Do something. And I think that's part of this engagement is, it's not being reckless and always do something, but it's like when there is a choice to make the choice, A or B or C, but do not debate forever or move away from taking the choice, because the self-engagement is also for me, and especially as a leader of an organization with thousands to hundreds of employees, there's this expectation that you are making decision. There's no right or wrong decision. There's a decision based on the elements, So, do or do not, I think for me is very important part of the engagement.
So, Olivier, you did mention about the debate in the global environment. It's difficult. So what do you see other barriers for the engagement in the global setting?
I think, it's one of the other barrier in the global setting for me is, perception that things are so complex. Not only you have to talk to the people at various sites within your functions, but you maybe have to talk to other people within other teams. That engagement is absolutely required. You need to do it. We are in such complex organization with potentially thousands of employees. You cannot make a decision on your own. So I think engagement in those cases is this idea, okay, I'm going to go and talk to everybody I need to talk to, get their opinions, get their thoughts, applying that healthy debate so that, when the project, the application, the process is being rolled out, you've been going through that, walking the square, as we said at J&J, but then the do or do not, there is no try, transport, like you don't walk the square for ages. You're doing it with the key people. Accept it, embrace it, and work with it rather than moaning about it.
The other barrier, there will be the time zone barriers. Like in Roche, we have 5 sites. Any single moment that you see people at either they're in their bedtime or their dinner time or breakfast time. So we actually implemented so-called golden hour, which is from 7 to 10 a.m. Pacific time. In Europe, it's afternoon. In China, it's morning. So this is really help a community that will make sure if there's important meeting, we make sure schedule it during this time that allow people has the ability to engage. The other thing we also do is trying to record the important content so that For those who cannot attend these meetings and engagement events, they can review afterward and get insights from the discussions.
That's a very interesting conversation. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and subscribe for future episodes. We would love to hear from you and please provide your feedback, a review for others to know what to expect. Thank you for your time.